Yo guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another FPL video. And in today's one, we're going to be looking at an FPL draft that I've built with Erling Haaland, Mohamed Salah and Cole Palmer. So we are wasting no time and we're going to get straight into it, and starting off in the three forward positions, we've got Erling Haaland, Alexander Isak and Rodrigo Muniz. I really do like this front three. I think all players are really good options, and we're going to start off talking about Alexander Isak. For me, this year, to start the season in FPL, I think Alexander Isak is essential. That's just my opinion. I mean, the fixtures for Newcastle are absolutely fantastic. He's playing Southampton in game week 1, Bournemouth away in game week 2, Spurs at home, who had a terrible defence last season, in game week 3. In game weeks 4 and 5, he's got fixtures away to Wolves and away to Fulham. As you guys can see here, the fixtures are amazing. We know Alexander Isak is going to be a starter. He's on penalties, and we know that Alexander Isak is a striker that likes to score goals. I mean, last season he bagged 21 goals in around 27 starts it was. So yeah, Alexander Isak proved himself last season. He passes the stats and he passes the eye test as well. I think Alexander Isak is a great option to start the season, and for me, game week 1, I think he's probably the best captain option to go with. Some might say no, maybe you should do Haaland or maybe you should do Salah, but for me, I think Isak at home to Southampton is not only a good option, but yeah, as a captain choice, absolutely amazing. So yeah, I really do like Alexander Isak as an option. I think everyone should strongly be considering this guy for their game week 1 teams, because yeah, for me, he is essential. And then we've got Rodrigo Muniz. Now, he's playing Manchester United away from home in the first game week. Now, some people may say that's an easy game given how bad defensively Manchester United were last season, but some people might say it's a quite tough game. No one really likes to play the traditional top 6 sides in the first game, but yeah, it is Manchester United in the first game. But after that, the fixtures are really good for Fulham. Leicester at home in game week 2, Ipswich away in game week 3, West Ham and Newcastle at home in game weeks 4 and 5. So the fixtures are there for Fulham, and we saw last season, towards the end of the season, Rodrigo Muniz really came through and started scoring a lot of goals. Yeah, he's a good player. He had some good XG numbers as well. So I think, you know, he had an XG of 8.76 last season and he scored 9 goals. So we can see here, as long as he's getting the service, as long as he's getting the chances, you know, he is relatively clinical and he will take those chances. So I really do like Rodrigo Muniz as an option to start the season with. Yes, I know Manchester United in the first game, but it's definitely not a game where he cannot score in. Like, there's a decent chance he can score in that game. Obviously, it's not the ideal fixture, it's not the best fixture, but it's definitely a fixture where he can get a return in, either a goal or an assist. But yeah, I really do like Muniz as an option. I feel like he's going slightly under the radar because he's only 4.7% owned, but I think he's actually one of the best options, best value options to start the season with, because he only costs 6 mil, which is very cheap. I think I would prefer Muniz at 6 mil than any other midfielder at 6 million, given the fixtures and the potential that he showed last season. So yeah, I really do like him as an option, and I think you should definitely consider him. He is definitely someone I'm considering for my game week 1 squad, whether I go for Haaland or not. But yeah, I really do like him as an option. And then of course we've got Erling Haaland coming in at 15 million. Now, is he worth that price? I really don't know. But one thing we do know for sure is that Erling Haaland is a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. This guy will get you goals, and it's something that he's proved over the last 2 seasons. Manchester City also have some good fixtures to start the Premier League season. And yes, of course, I know they've got Chelsea away from home in the first game week. Some people may argue that's a pretty tough fixture for Haaland, but regardless, after that, they've got Ipswich at home, which is a great captain pick as well, by the way. They've got West Ham away in game week 3, and then Brentford at home in game week 4. And for game week 2, 3 and 4, in all of these fixtures, you can definitely captain Erling Haaland. I think that's one of the best things about owning Haaland, is that he provides that good, reliable captain option, which is what makes him such a good pick as well, in my opinion. So yeah, the fixtures are there. We know that Haaland's a proven goal scorer. It's just whether you really want to spend 15 million on this player, but I'll leave that down to you guys. At this point in time, I'm still undecided, but I feel like I'm slightly leaning towards going without. But yeah, that's all I'll say on Erling Haaland. Let me know down below in the comments, are you guys going to be choosing Erling Haaland for your game week 1 teams? But moving on into the midfield, we've got Cole Palmer, Mohamed Salah, Eberici Eze and Hudson-Odoi. And then we've got Harry Winks on the bench, who's really only there because he's a 4.5 million midfielder that consistently plays all the games. Now, I'm not going to lie, I really do like this midfield a lot. I think it's a very good midfield. We've got Mohamed Salah in there, of course. I do like him as an option because we know that he is going to be starting in that Liverpool front three. Okay, that's one of the best things about Salah. He's a reliable starter. He will play the 90 minutes. He's on penalties. And of course, just like Haaland, Salah is a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. We know that he'll score goals. And I love the fixtures for Liverpool. All right, they've probably got some of the best fixtures to start the season, which is why I do like that Salah pick. I think in terms of players like Gakpo, Jota, Diaz, Nunes, I think apart from Nunes, I think Jota, Gakpo and Diaz would be good options if we knew that they would be starting. All right, I think if we knew they'd be in that Liverpool starting 11 week in, week out, then I think the likes of Jota could be good options and Gakpo could be good options. But at the time of recording in this pre-season, we don't really know what that front three will be, so we're just going to have to wait and find out. But if throughout the season someone like Jota or someone like Gakpo becomes a reliable, consistent starter, then I think they're also great options for your FPL teams. Now, I'm personally not the biggest fan of owning Darwin Núñez. I mean, this guy's caused me so much pain and suffering over the past couple of seasons. So I'm not the biggest fan. I think, yes, he does have good underlying data. We all know that he gets a hot load of chances, but the problem is he doesn't convert them. And yeah, I just don't really trust him. All right, he's pretty frustrating. He's a pretty frustrating asset to own in FPL, so I'm going to stay away from Núñez this season. I think even if he becomes a consistent starter, because I've just got bad experiences with Núñez. I know the underlying data is good, but I just feel like I can't personally trust him. But yeah, we're going to move on anyway. I think we've got Hudson-Odoi in there at 5.5 million. Now, I personally would prefer Morgan Gibbs-White, who costs 6.5 million, but for this draft, we just can't afford Morgan Gibbs-White, bro. He's a bit too expensive, so we've gone for Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi, like towards the end of the season, he had some pretty good form. All right, I think he's a very good option. The fixtures for Nottingham Forest are also really good. They've got Bournemouth at home in game week 1, Southampton away in game week 2, and Wolves at home in game week 3. And then even in game weeks 5 and 6, they've got Brighton and then Fulham at home. So the fixtures there are really good for Nottingham Forest. I think, to be fair, all the way down until like game week 10, 11, their fixtures are really good as a whole. So that's why I've gone for Hudson-Odoi. He showed last season as well that he can score some goals. All right, he got 8 goals last season, got 2 assists, and he only did play around 1.8 thousand minutes. So yeah, I think he's a good option. Obviously, there is Anthony Elanga as well at the same price point as Hudson-Odoi, coming in at 5.5. I also do think Elanga's a good option. He done well last season as well. He bagged 5 goals and also got 9 assists last season. So less goals than Hudson-Odoi, but more overall goal contributions. I'm pretty torn between the two. I'm not sure who I'd rather go with. Elanga did score more. Elanga did play more minutes than Hudson-Odoi, last season. So I think with equal amount of minutes, there's an argument there to be made that Hudson-Odoi could score more points than Anthony Elanga. But yeah, I really do like Hudson-Odoi as a pick. I think to start the season, he could be a pretty good differential. Now, Eze is someone that I spoke about quite a bit recently. I really do like him as an option. I think the fixtures for Crystal Palace are pretty decent, and Crystal Palace under Oliver Glasner have improved a lot. Last season, Eberechi Eze showed what he can do under this manager. He scored a lot of goals. He got 11 goals, 5 assists across the whole season, but his goal scoring form really picked up under the new appointment of Oliver Glasner. So if he can carry that form into the start of this new season, then I think Eze will be a good option. Of course, he's on penalties as well, which makes him even better. Now, if you didn't want to go for Eze, I think at 6.5, Leon Bailey is also a good option. He's cheaper, and I think he's more of a differential. Currently, he's only 4% owned, and the fixtures for Aston Villa are absolutely amazing. Yes, I know they've got that tough fixture against Arsenal in game week 2, but other than that, they really have some of the best fixtures to start the season. They got West Ham away, Leicester away, Everton at home, Wolves at home, Ipswich away. So some really good fixtures there for Aston Villa. And there is rumours going around that Moussa Diaby will be leaving and be getting sold to a team in Saudi. I'm not sure how true or how false that information is, but what I do know is that Leon Bailey did get good minutes last season, and I think this season to start with as well, he'll get some good minutes. So if he does get good minutes and is a consistent starter in the Aston Villa side, I think Leon Bailey could be a pretty good differential. And then of course we've got Cole Palmer in the side, and I'm not gonna lie guys, for me, I think he's essential. You know, this is a man that was the highest scoring FPL player in the entire game. I think he's a great option, and I cannot stress that enough. In terms of where does he rank compared to the likes of Saka and Foden? For me, I think he's above both of them. I really do think he should be one of the first names on your FPL team sheets, ahead of Foden, ahead of the likes of Saka, given the fixtures and the form that we saw last season. I mean, Foden is pretty close to Palmer, but I think Palmer edges it with Foden because he does take the penalties. So yeah, I just think Palmer's a great option. Let me know what you guys think of Palmer down below. So in defense, we've got Anderson, Murillo and Mykolenko, and then on the bench we've got Robinson from Fulham and Barco from Brighton. I think when you've got an expensive attacking draft like this one, when you've got, you know, Haaland, Isak, Salah, Palmer all in one draft, sacrifices are going to have to be made, and I think we've made those sacrifices in the defense. However, there is a positive to this, all right? Although we don't have any premium defenders like, you know, your Arsenal defenders like Saliba, Gabriel, your City defenders like Gvardiol and your Trents and your Robertsons, although we don't have those premium options, what I've done is chosen defenders that have good rotation. So for example, Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, they have some pretty good rotations from a defensive point of view, which is why I've gone for Anderson and Murillo. So as you guys can see, if you go for that Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest defensive rotation, you can get some really good favourable home fixtures. I mean, in game week 1, you'd have the Bournemouth at home fixture, then game weeks 2 and 3, you'd have West Ham at home, and then Wolves at home, and then Leicester at home in game week 4. So as you guys can see, the fixture rotation there from a defensive point of view is pretty good. So that's why I've gone for Anderson and Murillo, because they do rotate well, and also in some of the game weeks you'd actually be able to play both of them at the same time because they would both have good fixtures. But yeah, I've gone for Anderson specifically instead of Guehi because I do think Anderson has that bigger goal threat compared to Guehi, and I also prefer him over Mitchell. So yeah, I've gone for Anderson, and then I also like Murillo as well because he's not got as much of a goal threat as someone like Anderson, but you know, he gets the minutes, and like I said, he does rotate well with the Crystal Palace defenders. And then I've gone for Mykolenko because last season under Sean Dyche, Everton were really good defensively. So I wanted to find out who is a defender that can rotate well with Everton, and that defender is Robinson from Fulham. Fulham have some really good fixtures after that away fixture to Manchester United. They've got some really favourable home fixtures, and if you were to rotate Mykolenko and Robinson from Fulham, you'd end up having some really good favourable home fixtures once again. You'd be playing the likes of Brighton at home, Leicester at home, Bournemouth at home, West Ham at home, and Newcastle away. And even in game week 3, where you'd have Everton playing against Bournemouth at home, you'd also have the option to play Robinson away to Ipswich. So that's why I really do like this defense, mixing the 4.5s together, finding the best possible rotations that work. At this moment in time, I feel like these are the best rotations to start with. That is just my opinion. Obviously, yes, there's other rotations like the Newcastle and the Aston Villa rotation is pretty good, but at this moment in time, I'm not really sure if I want to go with a Newcastle defender anymore. I just think that the fixtures, they're okay, but last season away from home, Newcastle weren't that great, and I think they've got a lot of away fixtures in the first 5. They've got 3 away fixtures, so I'm not really favouring them for clean sheets. And one of their home fixtures as well is against Tottenham Hotspur, so which is definitely a game where they can concede in. So yeah, right now I'm set on these rotations. I really do like the Palace and Nottingham Forest rotation, and then the Everton and Fulham rotation. And of course, we've got Barco on the bench there because at this moment in time, it's looking like Estupina will miss the first few game weeks. So yeah, if he does miss the start of the season, then Barco at 4 million could be a very good option. So yeah, let me know what you guys do think of that defense, but let's move on to the final bit of the video. So to finish off the team, in goal we've got Robert Sanchez from Chelsea, and at the time of recording, it is looking like he will be the #1 goalkeeper. I mean, Enzo Maresca has said that he does want Sanchez to be his #1. However, Chelsea still are looking to buy a new keeper, but I think that is literally just to keep Sanchez on his toes. That is basically a keeper to compete with Sanchez. So if Sanchez doesn't start well, doesn't have a good start to the season, then that keeper that Chelsea buy will come in and replace Sanchez. So as long as Sanchez can do a pretty good job, then I think his #1 spot at Chelsea is pretty much secured. So yeah, I really do like him as an option. I think he's a good 4.5 and probably the best 4.5 option if he can consistently start games for Chelsea, because Chelsea really do have some nice fixtures. So yeah, and to have a 4.5 starting goalkeeper from Chelsea, in my opinion, is an easy set and forget option. So yeah, I really do like Sanchez. If if he can keep his place. And then on the bench, we've got Fabianski, and he's pretty much just there just to fill up the numbers. I don't think we really have a starting 4 million goalkeeper this year, so I've just gone with Fabianski. But yeah, that does complete this draft, guys. Let me know what you think of it down below in the comment section. Are you liking this draft? Obviously, like I said, it's an expensive attacking one. You know, it's got Palmer, Salah, Isak, Haaland all in one draft. Let me know what you guys think, though. I actually I really do like it, to be fair. I think it's still pretty strong, even though the defense isn't really, even though there's no premium options in the defense, I still think it's an overall good team. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and feelings on this draft down below. Make sure to smash a like if you enjoyed, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.